ladies and gentlemen, I know what you're all thinking right now. He knows what you're all thinking right now. Another motherfucking podcast, another Calcio podcast. This is the Serie Ass podcast, baby. This is episode 1, and we're not like any other podcast. You know why? Because we don't pretend that we're experts. We don't give a fuck to pretend that we're experts. We don't know shit, maybe. But maybe you can get a little something out of us bantering back and forth with each other, out of us talking about the beautiful game. Because there's one thing that's for sure, we love the fucking beautiful game. All right, so let's get into the topics. Let's get right down to it. We are going to try and make everything as quick as possible so you guys can digest it. We're going to make it as fun as possible, and we're out here. So number one thing we should really discuss is the Inzaghi welcome party. Who are the winners and losers from this man's appointment? Are Inter fans winning or losing right now? Talk to me a little bit about that, Favo. What do you think about Inzaghi?
So, the way it all panned out, because Conte kind of surprised us all with leaving, and then it seemed like we were scrambling for a manager. We heard names like Mihailovic, Sarri, so many bums that were supposed to come in, and I was devastated for like 2 days. And then I don't know if this was Marotto's cockeye, like a little bit of planning to kind of make Inzaghi seem like this savior when he came in. But when he did come in, it felt like we won the treble again. I was ecstatic. Going to keep the same formation, going to keep the same system of football, copy and paste under Inzaghi. Seems like the players are happy. Seems like they're in good spirits. Lukaku got that phone call from Meester the other day. He seems like he's ready to go. Seems like he's going to be the focal point. I'd say, first off, Lukaku is definitely a big winner here. It seems like he's going to be the main man again, and hopefully he can keep that form from last year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, honestly, I think it was a Beppe masterclass. I think they knew what they were doing throwing those names out there. I don't think Inter was ever actually seriously looking at Mihailovic. I don't. It'd be crazy. I'd go for Stankovic before fucking Mihailovic. But, it's exactly what you said. We get that continuity with the formation. That's beautiful. Can't ask for much more than that at the moment. With our funding, it's not like we could attract anything crazy. Allegri probably wouldn't have even really considered it. I don't know how serious those talks ever were, but that was kind of the best case solution was Allegri. Didn't happen. He's at Juve. That's going to make it tough for Inzaghi. I think the biggest thing Inzaghi has going for him is that kind of wild card. He just started coaching 5 years ago. He's already won. He has trophies to his name. This is his first big team, so it's kind of like we don't know what his ceiling is. And I think that might be the thing that gives me the most hope, honestly. Because if it was like, for example, Spalletti, I know what Spalletti's ceiling is because he's been coaching for so long. Great coach, he'll get you top 4, but he's not really going to put you in that Scudetto race. So that's kind of the big thing with Inzaghi is we don't really know. Adds a little bit of mystery, adds a little bit of flavor.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of winners within the squad because I think his man management is terrific. We saw it at Lazio. He's changed careers. Lucas Leiva was a fucking bum at Liverpool, completely turned him around. And then he's just good at making players that are unknown great too, like SMS, for example. So I'm excited to see which of the guys he could maybe reintegrate into the squad. I'm gonna give a crazy one for winners here. I'm gonna give Ready? I'm gonna give winners. Gagliardini, winners. He was linked to Lazio a couple times, and I think he's the profile that Simone could reintegrate into the squad. I'm not saying he's going to turn into fucking Pogba. I'm just saying he could start giving some really good contributions under Inzaghi.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the midfield shakes up because with Inzaghi, it was more like Lucas Leiva in that Regista position. Wasn't really the distributor. It wasn't really like the Brozovic profile. He was more of in front of the defense, winning balls, distributing. The one that was controlling play really and keeping tempo was Luis Alberto in the left Mezzala position. So it's going to be weird to see Brozovic. I don't think he's going to be able to do the same exact role as Lucas Leiva did. So it's going to be interesting to see how we use him. Maybe Inzaghi does, switch up the dynamic of his midfield and matches it more to what we have now, especially because it seems like we're not going to, if we get rid of somebody, it's going to be very hard to replace them with somebody who's of the same quality or better. So we're going to have to see. The midfield is going to be different. I think Barella is, going to be perfect. He can do anything. He's the perfect all-around player. I think we won't see that shaking up much, but otherwise the midfield is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I think with that being said, Brozo could be potentially under losers for this move.
Yeah, yep.
And I'd put Eriksen, if Eriksen stays, under winners maybe.
Yeah, no, for sure, because I think Eriksen can do that Luis Alberto role, and he can, really start to show his qualities, used the best part of his game in the best way that he can for the formation. So maybe he returns to that, 2016, 2017 Premier League form when he was just dropping dimes left and right. And, I think a lot of our fan base really wants to see Eriksen used to his full capabilities. He's an exciting player. He's a favorite for a lot of fans, so we'll see how it goes.
Not a favorite for Rocky Bobby.
Under Conte it was different, yeah, for sure. He's not.
But tactically, again, I'm reassessing every single player with an open mind now. Just like I'm giving Inzaghi an open mind, I want to see how they fit into his tactics. I think he's an exciting young coach, and I think he can get the most out of a lot of these guys. At the moment, another person I'd put under winners would probably have to be Bastoni. Bastoni, big winner. And Inzaghi's a big winner for having Bastoni, De Vrij, and Skriniar, assuming that base stays, which it should. He's never had 3 center backs like that before.
No.
Never in his career, and I think it's really going to show that defensive solidity, because a lot of issues that were happening at Lazio with their collapses was defensive issues, defensive errors. They'd have bums like Radu and Patrick playing, so that's a big thing. This guy has 3 serious center backs. I think he can do a great job and continue developing Bastoni. Bastoni is perfect for that back 3. I think he can do a great job, continuity with De Vrij. I wonder if he has any beef with De Vrij after some that Champions League. I won't put De Vrij under losers, though. They're all winners, and I think Inzaghi is a massive winner for having the 3 of them.
Yeah, I'm excited for those De Vrij Simone pictures. First few days of training, the big daps, the big hugs. See how that pans out. Otherwise, though, yeah, I completely agree. Lazio, one of their biggest struggles, even though when they had that Scudetto run, when they were up towards the top of the table, they were their defense was one of the strongest points that season, along with the penalties, obviously, but they weren't conceding a lot. So there weren't the greatest defenders back there. So having a back 3 that can compete with the top clubs in Europe, it's going to be huge for him. The biggest thing for Inzaghi is that, like you said, it's his first real big coaching job. He's only been coaching for 5 years. Lazio was his first senior team that he ever had. So we've seen so many coaches that, they get that big team, one of the big 3 in Italy, Inter, Milan, Juventus. It makes or breaks them because, the pressure's there. All eyes are on you. You have to make it work, and the expectations are high. So we'll see how it goes for him. But if it goes well, we could see that, Inzaghi be, the next generation of, those maestro Italian managers that are sought out all over the world.
And that's my hope exactly, yeah. Hopefully he's a generational manager, and we can't rule that out at the moment. For wingbacks, it's hard to give winners and losers for wingbacks because I see a lot of movement. Like Hakimi, probably out. We don't know who's going to be coming in. So depending on who that profile is that comes in on the right, I don't know. I think Darmian is going to have a consistent season like he did under Conte. Not too much change there, in my opinion. I think Young's out, obviously, so don't know who's going to come in. Oh, Di Marco, right? Di
Marco and Perisic on the left, and then Darmian I expect to be on the right, and we'll just see. It seems like now the last 2 players we haven't talked about is going to be Lautaro and Hakimi, the 2 players rumored to be on their way out. Obviously, Hakimi could explode he's the best in his position in the world. We would always expect, that, 7 goals, 9 assists, something like that. An absurd season. So keeping him would be a huge plus because anybody else you get when you have the best in the world in this position is going to be a huge downgrade. But otherwise, I think Darmian can hold his own in that position. And, if we have to sell, to fix after a pandemic our liquidity issues and fund the market maybe with a few other players, some of the dead weight going, then it is what it is. And we'll have to see how it goes.
I mean, what gives me confidence, even if we do have to make sales, is that Beppe is there. And the way that I see it is Hakimi's going to go to fix the liquidity issue, and then Lautaro is going to go to fund the transfer market. I think that's a good case. If it happens, it'd be perfect because if we can get around 100 million for Toro, that's not a bad transfer market to play with when you have Beppe as your manager because he can find you great deals. I was expecting a little bit more action from us on the free side of trying to get these free signings. Depay has been stalling with Barca. I don't know if we're going to try swooping in. I hope we do. So I'm hoping to see a little bit of free action. We don't have too much funding, so it'd be really great for Beppe to kind of step in there. As far as Hakimi goes, wherever he goes, I wish him the best of luck. I think that he wasn't perfect. He's still young and he has a lot of upside. At first, I didn't want to see him go. I thought he'd be perfect under Inzaghi, and I think Inzaghi would love to have him. But if that's the way it shakes down, that's the way it shakes down. 80 million, you can't really say no to that in this market, especially, and that would fix a lot of our problems. So
yeah, and I think you're going to get a lot of people's blood boiling when they hear Hakimi and Lautaro going, because I think a lot of people have like this, like for instance, like my dad, like hardcore, just follows the club just with his heart, doesn't really think about all the other moving pieces that are involved. So hearing two big players, two big young talents out of the squad is going to hurt, going to break a lot of hearts. But I think if we think about the logic under it, and we think about the history of Beppe and how he runs his transfer markets and how savvy he is in deals, I think, fixing liquidity issues, because we're rumored that we're going to need to raise about 70 to 80 million in funds. That's pretty much Hakimi's sale on its own. And then selling Lautaro at, around the same price point, if not more, brings in a massive, like, what's it called? Like a massive soft spot to land for us to be able to fund the market, because there's a lot of players in that position that can really hold their own. Like if you think about just names that we've had recently, like Muriel, like you said, Depay, there's so many different strikers out there that can fill that position and can do it well. And, it looks like Alexis is going to come back. That's a great option off the bench. He's averaged a goal a game, contributed a goal a game, assists and goals. Coming off the bench all season, he's obviously still got it. So it's going to be interesting to see how everything works out. And I think we're going to be fine. I think at first there was alarm bells ringing in everyone's heads that, Conte's leaving. And it was just right at 3 days after we won the Scudetto. It seemed like we were dismantling everything, but I don't think that's the case. I think as long as Beppe's here, I think we'll be fine.
I agree with you, and I think it's not going to be all gloom and doom, of course. I think that we're going to have to give it some time. I think it could end up being all gloom and doom. I'm not ruling that out. It could go horribly wrong. I think what we're most hurt by is we remember what happened after Mourinho left Inter, and we remember just the devastating turn that the club slowly started taking, and then boom, just out of nowhere, just completely dead. So I'm not going to pretend it's all gloom and doom right now. I'm going to give everyone an open mind. That's just the mentality I'm going to have, because if I don't laugh, I'm going to cry. I'm going to enjoy this moment for now, enjoy the mystery around it, enjoy the drama. So that's where that stands. Now, I do want to talk about Mr. Antonio Conte, Mr. ex-manager. We're all a little bit hurt. We all look at the pictures every night. We all cry. We all cry our tears every single night looking at that man. So what the fuck is going through this man's head? At first, it's like understandable. Okay, we're going to have to make a few cuts and we're going to sell players. Then this man's linked to Tottenham. And listen, I know he's not going to go there, but to leave Inter and to even consider going to Tottenham, it's like, so you just don't want a job at the moment. You just like, it's that bad here. You have to leave. I'm baffled. I'm baffled by this guy.
It's so strange because when he came to Inter, he said, I'm here to accept the challenge. I know it's going to be a long road ahead of us. I know what comes with being the Inter manager. I know that we don't have the perfect squad in place, but I'm here willing to build this team and build something great. And then he said the same thing when he was linked to Tottenham, is that he wants the challenge. And it's interesting that he says that, because as soon as a little bit of difficulty or a little bit of something that wasn't planned comes his way, he just leaves. He just jumps off the boat, and he's done it his whole career. I think I've heard the term be thrown around that we got Conte. It's just really strange, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And I think we can see that a lot of players and the management especially was blindsided, because given the fact that Inzaghi was ready to sign the renewal with Lazio, would mean that we probably hadn't contacted him in a serious way to say that the Inter job may be available. It seemed like we hadn't had anything lined up because of the names that were coming out after he left. Beppe himself, I believe, said he was surprised. A lot of players said that they were caught off guard. It's just strange. And to want to go somewhere else like Tottenham, when you already have this mega squad in place that is playing perfect Conte football. He said, when I came to Inter, it was Inter. And then now, when that was in May, it's Conte's Inter. The team was a complete unit. They knew what to do. They knew the style of play. It's just strange that if he was going to go somewhere else like Tottenham, he was going to throw all that away and start again when you just had to take 1 or 2 steps backward and continue the work that you've already done over the last 2 years.
He's just the strangest man to try and understand. You know, like you said, first sign of adversity, jump ship. And I understand, you know, he doesn't owe Inter anything. He's a Juventino his entire life. But he made it clear that, like, to him, this was just a business transaction. At least that's how I take it, you know. And he didn't even form any real attachment to the players at this club and to the club itself. Lukaku and all these players are thanking him, but I think that he did a lot for them career-wise. But person to person, I don't know if I would be able to just leave like he did just because I'd have to sell one guy. If I really cared about these guys, I feel bad for the players personally because I know that how much of a relationship that they built with him. It's just so bizarre, and this is only going to harm him career-wise because it's happening every single place he goes. You know, you look at Real Madrid; they chose to take Ancelotti over him. I don't even think they contacted him because this guy, at the first issue that he's going to see, he's just going to burn everything to the ground, burn it all to the ground, and it doesn't make any sense. You know, and a club like Real Madrid, for example, yeah, they have a lot of funds to work with, but at the same time, they also have financial issues right now. It's pretty obvious. I mean, there's a reason that this Super League is trying to get pushed. A lot of clubs had financial issues, and this Super League would have been very helpful for a lot of them. But that's not what ended up happening. We're stuck where we are, and I think Conte is only going to keep harming himself with this. It's not going to go on.
It just doesn't make any sense. The only way I could rationalize it is that I think Conte is extremely professional and just has this. I think it was just the promise that was made 2 years ago that, we have these ambitions, we have these goals. Here's what we're going to do to accomplish them. And then as soon as that was thrown out the window, or there was a little bit of a shakeup in the word that was given 2 years prior. That's just an honor thing. Just maybe as a man, he just didn't want to stay. But it's just really strange because even let's think of the hypothetical. Like, let's say he goes to one of these mega clubs like PSG or Real.
Yeah.
You still have to start all over. You still are going further backwards than what you would have at Inter, having to sell 1 or 2 star players. Because of the work that the amount of time it takes to implement the Conte system and get it to work well is over a year at least. Especially, it doesn't matter the personnel you have. It takes a while for the players to buy in. It takes a while for the players to learn the patterns of play that he does, the strict patterns of play that he runs. So it just didn't make any sense. And it looks like he'd rather sit at home with the 7 million in severance and do nothing. I guess that might be, in his opinion, just better than having to deal with, lack of communication from Suning, the headaches that he has to deal with in the media. I guess it's just better to him, but it's just a damn shame because we had a really good thing going here, and I think we could have made, especially if you look around Europe, I don't think there's many teams that are super big powerhouses in Europe. I think we could have made a lot of noise in Europe, especially with how well we were playing towards the end of the season after December, January. Yeah. So it's a shame all around.
Man, fuck that European choker, bro. Little wig man's out here iron pressing his wig at home.
I forgot about him already. I don't know who Antonio Conte is. To me, it's just pezzo di merda, Juventino, and that's it. We just move forward.
Right. All I'm thinking about now is Inzaghi's silky black hair, his beautiful double chin. That's all I'm thinking about now.
And he has a lot of. He's early on. He can already. I think the first game back, the Super Copa we're playing, he can match Conte's trophy tally. Just getting past the group stage, it's going to make a lot of people forget about Conte very fast.
I agree. I'm going to say one more thing about Conte because he said something yesterday that really stood out to me. It pissed me off, and I just wish I wasn't reading it. And it's not easy to piss Raki Babi off, but Raki Babi is pissed off. This man said, my goal at Inter was to win a trophy, and I was able to do that in the second year of my 3-year contract. Basically saying that job complete. My second year, Conte out. Mr. Antonio Conte, let me tell you something, sir. You're a coward. At the end of the day, you're a fucking coward in my book. Selling 1 or 2 players and just sitting at home instead of actually coaching the team because, there's a little bit of competition all of a sudden. It's ridiculous. The Scudetto that this guy won, I'm not gonna undermanage Scudetto because it's a beautiful moment. I love it. But I just want to remind everybody, just managerial-wise, he won the Scudetto against Pioli and Andrea Pirlo. I want to remind everybody of that. So I would have been impressed. This is standard procedure for me. Antonio Conte coming here to win a Scudetto, not impressive to me. It should have happened. Standard procedure. He didn't break my expectations. The football that he was playing was beautiful. That did break my expectations. He took his game to a whole other level. But him winning this one Scudetto and saying job complete, I'm not impressed, Antonio Conte. I would have been more impressed maybe if you did it when Juventus was more serious last season under Sarri. And Sarri's not some sort of great manager either. He's a little hype beast manager, The kids love him. He's got that sexy hip football going. But he's not crazy. So my expectation was that, honestly, I expected Scudetto last season. But, I was like, all right, it takes time to get everything going. It's fine. But for him to come here this second season, so I'm pissed off. For him to come here the second season and be like, all right, I won the Scudetto, job accomplished. You didn't accomplish anything really in my book. You did what you had to do, and I appreciate that. Case closed. I appreciate number 19. I wasn't shocked by number 19. Number 19 should have came last year. This year could have been the second star. That's what would have broke my expectations. That's what I would have.
Completely agree with you, because if he hadn't won it, it would have been seen as a massive failure, because given the squad on paper, it's levels ahead from the next closest. He did win double digits points ahead, but that's what was expected. There was if we hadn't have done it, it would have been a massive failure. He early on was trying to be too cute with that 3-4-1-2. It didn't work out. We got embarrassed in Europe. There was a lot of work to be done, and he just left when the going got tough.
Agreed. All right. I think that the managerial situation in Italy next season, that's something we got to talk about, because it's getting sexy. It's getting spicy. It's spicy. It's spicy. It's spicy. So let's break it down. All right. Juventus got Allegri back. Does not bode well for us. Does not bode well for the rest of Serie Ass. If they make a couple refinements to the squad, he could even have probably a squad on level with Inter's. Because right now, I think what we have going for us is our squad is probably quite a bit ahead of most others. Juventus is still pretty much there, but a couple refinements, he could have a crazy squad. But for me, Allegri, and I can't sing his praises enough. To me, he's honestly the best manager in the world right now. There's no guy I'd rather have than Allegri personally. I think he's versatile. I think he makes his team perform both in the league and in cup competitions. If you made 2 finals, it's not his fault they lost. They're just serial bottlers, But I think he's the best pickup they could have had. I think he's a little bit of a cuck and a loser for going back there after they humiliated him. That's another story. But, give me your thoughts on Allegri to Juve.
So I like Allegri to Juve a lot. I think that Allegri going back, and it seems like Dybala might be incorporated back into the squad, a big missing piece for them this past season. I think for me, it makes them the favorites going into next year, given that Simone has to implement his football with a brand new squad. It's going to take some time. I think Allegri just levels ahead of Inzaghi. I think he's levels ahead of any other manager in Serie A. I think the squad is going to do well with him. Juve are going to make a lot of noise next year, and no surprise. They have Cristiano Ronaldo, Dybala, the experience in the back, a great keeper in Szczesny. I think they'll do well.
Maybe a great keeper in Donnarumma. Donnarumma. I agree with you. Then we're going to go look at, a little bit of Lupi sauce, a little bit of Roma sauce. You know who's there. Man, almost making me buy a Roma jersey. Special one, my fucking goat, Jose Mourinho to Roma. This is a great move for Roma. I don't know if this is a great move for Jose Mourinho. I think that he's taking a lot. He's like the opposite of Conte. This guy's like, give me a fucking challenge. At fucking maximum difficulty. It's going to be interesting to see what their transfer market is. So I can't give my thoughts on if it'll actually be bad for Mourinho until I see their transfer market. He could turn Roma into winners. He can do that. That's not outside of something that he's done. He's done it with Porto. He's won the Champions League. He can defy expectations. He won the triplet with Inter, only Italian team to ever win a triplet. So this is an amazing signing for Roma. To be seen if it's an amazing fit for Jose. But I think that there are some great pieces there for him to work with. Mancini, Pellegrini, Zaniolo is going to be coming back. It could be interesting. And depending on how the Mercato goes, I could even put them as a favorite for the Scudetto. We'll see how the Mercato. Won't go crazy.
Wow.
We'll see after the Mercato,
I don't think they're going to be. I think they're going to be fighting for top 4. Wouldn't quite put them all the way up. I don't think they'll even be quite in the race for the Scudetto, given the squad has a lot of holes in it. But Jose Mourinho always works his magic. We'll see I think this is kind of like a make or break season for him. Coming back to Serie A, the league he's had massive success in. Trying to do it with Roma. Is going to be interesting for him. I think it could either be, it's going to be a project. It's going to take a few years for him to get the squad to where a Jose Mourinho expectation level would be at. But we'll see. I think, like you said, Zaniolo, I think is going to explode under Jose Mourinho. I think they do have a lot of good players there. We're just going to have to see how he can make it work. I'm just excited for those classic press conferences. I'm excited to see him. See, Mourinho isn't going to be the type of guy that cries like Conte that I need defense, I need this, I need that. Like, no, he's going to be in there with the swords up in the press conference seat. He's going to be there, just murdering journalists. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait for the touchline interactions between him and all the other managers. Super excited, and it's great for the league. It's great for our beautiful Serie Ass, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm excited to see his pressers before the Inter games. I'm excited to see him at the San Siro. Hopefully, give him a nice little standing ovation. I think it's going to be beautiful. I think he could maybe open his mouth and get himself in a little bit of trouble with it. Put it past him. The reason, though, the big reason that I'm putting them up there for the Scudetto hunt at the moment is because for him to go to Roma, I think that they had to make him certain promises. I don't know how well they are financially right now, so I can't say what their mercato is going to look like. I'm not going to pretend I'm some sort of Roma expert, but I'm going to say that they definitely have to make him some promises because I'm sure that he knows it. I'm sure he keeps up with everything. People are starting to whisper about him that he's not the manager he used to be. So for him to go to Roma, that's a huge career risk. So and then how he says make or break. For me, it's not make or break just because I know it's Roma, but at the same time, managerially, with all these whispers around, like, oh, Mourinho's washed up, Mourinho's past it. It's a strange move for him to go to Roma, which makes me think he was made some certain promises in the mercato, and they're going to let him build that team out. I think there's some great young pieces there, but I think there definitely needs to be, like you said, the squad does have a lot of gaps. I completely agree with you. So after the mercato, I'll tell you for sure if he's going to be in the Scudetto race, but just his persona being there is enough for me to say early on, yes, if they make the right move.
Yeah. See, it's just hard for me. Like, I agree to bring a manager of Mourinho's stature to Roma, you are going to have to convince him one way or another. Given that be with signings, obviously he's going to have to fill those gaps somehow, some way. You can't really rely on Ibanez in the back to, keep a defensive solidity. But just given the history of Roma, it's just really hard for me to see them bringing in star players. They've had that label on them for the past few years, or almost forever, that the supermarket of Roma. Players come in and then they leave, and it's just how it goes. The revenues aren't really there for them to make all this noise, but it's going to be great for the club. Having someone like Mourinho brings a lot of eyes, brings a lot of views for you. A lot of people seeing even an Interista like yourself consider buying that Roma shirt. So I think it's going to bode well for them. I'm excited. It should be good.
Agreed. All right, let's move on to this one's, there's been whispers building up about this one, and now they're starting to get louder and louder. Sarri to Lazio. Interesting decision from Sarri. Arguably a pretty big step down from his past managerial jobs. Napoli, Chelsea, Juventus, now Lazio. Looks like he took a pretty big step backwards. I think that he was a little bit hard done at Juventus. I don't like him. I don't like Sarri. I want to make that very clear. I think the big reason why I don't like him is just because of the way that people hype him. Makes me kind of at first like him. He's not a bad manager by any means. My first big issue with him is that he has no trophies. Went to Chelsea, won the Europa League. Went to Juve, beat Antonio Conte's Inter for the Scudetto. So he's got trophies now. So I can't make that argument against this guy anymore. I think it's a great pickup for Lazio. I think they're punching above their weight class too. It's kind of crazy because in a way, both Roma managers have a better manager than Inter right now on paper. But again, what's working for Inzaghi is that we don't know his limits. But it's cool to see. Lazio is going to need to rebuild heavily because, their system was not made for a 4-3. You ran some sort of 4-3-3. And then so they're gonna have to fix that up. You know, Leyva is not like Jorginho. He's not gonna be able to play that kind of regista role. He's much different in that regard. He's a ball winner. So there's definitely gonna have to be some changes. Wingers, they're gonna need some spice on the wings. They don't have that right now. So I don't know. I think that manager-wise, it's good. Tactics-wise, I don't know how good of a fit it is. And we'll see. I think he can definitely make some noise, though. I think he can take a Coppa Italia. I think he can make a run for top 4.
Yeah, to me, this was a big surprise. Just given the fact that the squad that Lazio has now does not fit Sarri's football.
Exactly.
It's gonna suffer a lot initially, I think, and I think a lot of people are gonna criticize Sarri and early on just because I don't think the results are gonna be able to come right away. It's gonna take some time. I think someone like Luis Alberto is going to have to play maybe that regista role because try to do that Jorginho position, try to move the ball very quickly. But it's weird. It just doesn't match up perfectly. It's not a perfect fit. But nonetheless, it seemed like I don't know how many other options that Lazio had because going from Inzaghi and having to find someone to such short notice like that, like the man was literally ready to sign the contract. I think it's a great move for them, just as far as given the other options, but it's just going to take some time to implement. And I'm excited for them. Like I said, like having all these big managers and all the big teams is great for the league. And I'm excited.
I'm not going to lie. I'm shocked that they locked him down. I'm pretty shocked. One, I'm shocked that he would take that job knowing how much work he'd have to put in because this football takes a while to implement. But not just that, but just the formation, it's going to be tough. They don't have any out-and-out wingers. Is Lazzari going to play right wing for Sarri?
Yeah.
Is Sarri going to adjust his tactics, and maybe we're not even going to see that 4-3-3?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I can't think of it. They don't have any real true wingers that they're going to have to bring someone in, and in this market, in this environment, I don't see how they're going to be able to revamp the squad.
Oh yeah.
Be able to make them competitive right away. I think it's just going to take some time.
I mean, their sporting director, Iglitare, my Albanian brother, he makes some magic happen. So maybe he'll get some bargains. He'll put something together. But again, interesting move for Sarri. Milan, sticking with Pioli, it seems.
The renewal.
Come on.
Yeah, come on.
I don't know. I shouldn't even talk about this. If I was a Milanisti, I'd be mad. I'd be mad because I just see my club take that leap into Champions League, and you're keeping Pioli as the manager. It's like, honestly, I was mad when so Spalletti got Champions League for us our first season, then we gave him a 2-year contract extension. I love Spalletti. I think he did great work, but I was mad because I want to take that next step forward. I want to be I'm not just top 4 anymore. I want to be fully competitive. So I was actually looking to give, someone like Conte that spot as soon as Spalletti qualified for Champions League. Thank you very much, mister. Time for us to take that next step up. But we decided to renew him for 2 years. I think that was a bad choice. I think it's going to be a bad choice for Milan too. I don't know. Give me your thoughts on Pioli. What do you think?
So I think it's just like I said, like you said. I think if I was a Milanista, I would be livid, just because we've been ever since Elliott came in. You expect to see this rebuild, and you're the big one of the big 3 in Italy. You're supposed to be making steps every year, and this year I don't see that massive step forward that you're supposed to take, especially after coming off such a season that you qualified for Champions League. You punched way above your weight, I would almost say lucky to get that fourth spot, or that, I guess, second spot. They were only split 2 points between second and fifth place. So if I'm a Milanista, I want to see us take advantage of this opportunity, because what I see is that this squad, or this Milan team last season, 2021, was a lot like the Lazio from 1920, where, they punched way above their weight. They were in the Scudetto race for way longer than anyone else had expected. They had a massive amount of penalties that, can you imagine starting 20 games up 1-0 and almost missing Champions League?
I think that the penalty part's the best point, because the penalties were deserved. I'm not saying that there was some sort of conspiracy. They were deserved penalties, but at the same time, here's what makes it lucky. So these teams were actually making some pretty egregious handball mistakes and giving some pretty awful, silly penalties. So yes, you did deserve the penalties. No one's taking that away from you. But the point is that these teams were making a lot of mistakes. So it's not necessarily that you were that good, but it's that some teams were just really bad against you, and you had some great luck. And we could tell as soon as those penalties stopped kind of coming in, they fell off pretty badly. I think having Zlatan is huge, for mentality. But at the end of the day, they need some reinforcements in the transfer market. And just Pioli's not a mental. He can't push you forward.
Right.
It's what it is.
And I think I'm not sure. We don't claim to be any experts here. I'm not sure if Pioli ever qualified for Champions League before. I
believe he got Lazio to third place and did qualify for Champions League.
Okay. So,
I don't know how many times he's done it in his massively long career with 0 trophies, but I think he did get Lazio there once. And I think at the time it's when our coefficients were awful. So he got them to third place, and third place wasn't even a Champions League spot. It was qualify to get into Champions League spot. Right. And I believe that they lost in the qualifications. Check me on that. I might be wrong, but that's what I believe. Again, we're not experts. We're just two brothers shooting the shit, baby. So us get mad at for listening to this shit, all right? This is the Serie Ass podcast. This isn't some serious pompous bullshit. This is some fucking real shit right here.
So it's just weird. I don't know. For Milan, the name that's there, you should be fighting for Scudetti. And, I know Zlatan just said, again, that, we're here to fight for the Champions or for the Scudetto again. It's just, I don't see it. I don't, like you said, no one's taking away that those penalties weren't deserved. They were 100% deserved. There was times when Milan was playing some great football, especially early in the year. They were moving the ball beautifully. They found themselves in the box time and time again. It's just that you're not going to be able to – there's no way that you get those penalties again next season. They're not going to come. You almost broke I think they did, or maybe they almost did, break the Serie A record for penalties. I think you're going to see the same thing that happened with Lazio the following season, that, they're down into 6th and 7th place again. You can't – your star player, your focal point of your attack is a 40-year-old striker. That's just not realistic in any world. I don't, as much as I love Zlatan and as much of a GOAT I think he is, you just can't rely on him. And you saw that he wasn't there he played maybe 20 games, 21 games. So I feel for my cousins, and I hope that they can make some noise again and they can do more, but I just do not see it with the Pioli, the renewal at all.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm jealous that they have Zlatan. They solidified that Zlatan is a Milan player almost historically now. He's won more with Inter, so that is what it is. But I got Zlatan's jersey up on the wall. I love the man. I'm going to say that I agree with you, though. He's so old at this, and, we saw him missing so many games. So you can't fully rely on him for goal scoring, especially. I think what he really brings is that mentality that Pioli lacks. I think that he's almost like the second manager over there. But that's the big thing.
Yeah.
So, are we missing any big managerial signings?
I'm not sure, but just one last point on Milan is that I don't know. I think ever since Elliott came in, I think you wanted, like I said earlier, that you want to see every year that next step being taken. And it's just being taken, and the players just aren't. It's just you can tell with the way every window goes and who they have personnel-wise that they're not climbing those stairs. And right here again, we see. I know they got a great replacement, and what's his name, Magnan? I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to get crucified for that one.
Magic Mike, baby.
But that's a huge blunder on the managerial side of Milan. You're letting a generational goalkeeper, the next Buffon, going to be a household name in football in that position for the next 10 years, letting him go for free. And potentially to a massive rival in Juventus or, even abroad, that's a huge mistake. And, if I'm a Milanista, I am sick about it.
I agree and I disagree. And here's why I'm going to agree and disagree. I think it sucks that he ended up going for free. But what I think is that Mino Raiola, to Milanisti at least, and to Milan, he's cancerous. I don't know why, but he gives those motherfuckers such a hard time. He must be an Interista. But So I think that it's very similar to what happened with Icardi and us, where it's like this relationship is just getting toxic. The difference is we were able to get money for Icardi. Donnarumma was going for free. But I really rate Maldini as a sporting director, and I think that he did it for a purpose. I think he's saying, I don't give a fuck about this bitchy bullshit, money this, money that. Get the fuck out of the club. We can replace you tomorrow. We can have Magic Mike on a flight, and they did. So I think it was a symbolic thing. Now, is symbolic smart business-wise? No, it's not. You're 100% right. I'd be very mad that he's going for free mostly, and I'd be mad that it didn't work out. But if I'm a Milanista, I'm more mad at Donnarumma for the way that he behaved than I am at Maldini or Milan for the course of action they ended up taking. I think the best situation would have been to get some money, but he was just unsettled the entire time. I think it's hilarious that the year that they finally get Champions League, that's when Donnarumma and Nino decide to blow the whole thing up. He was sitting there in the mediocrity of Milan, and now they're finally in Champions League. But whatever. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
But yeah, any big manager moves that we're missing? Am I tripping?
Napoli, Spalletti to Napoli.
100%. That's huge. So Spalletti, I'm going to say it again. I really rate Spalletti as a manager. I think that he has his limits, though. Like, I don't think that he's going to take a team to the Scudetto. But I am going to say that this Napoli squad is very well built for his football. I think it's almost a perfect matchup for his football. I think he's going to have players of tremendous quality. And we could see him have his best finish in a long time. I really do. Especially now, this depends on how Inzaghi performs. It depends on how Mourinho performs and how Sarri performs. A lot of great managers in Serie A this season. So I'm very hopeful for Spalletti. I think it'd be a great finish. I think he could cause some upsets. So I'm not gonna. It's crazy. I'm not gonna rule out the Scudetto for Spalletti. I'm not gonna say he's likely to get it, but I'm not gonna rule him out of that race. I think top 4 is almost a guarantee with Spalletti. I'm gonna say right now it's a guarantee with Spalletti. Knowing him as a manager is a guarantee. I think he could surprise some people because this squad is so well built for his football, and I think he could end up mounting a title challenge. Never done it. He's never won it before, but
yeah, I think this is definitely his best squad since the Roma days.
Yeah,
it's like you said, like literally a perfect fit. He can put in his football right away. I think unfortunately for Spalletti when he was at Inter, is that he had a squad that was garbage compared to what this Napoli squad is. And I think that created a lot of stigma to his name and, kind of painted him as like, this sort of just a fight for top 4 manager. But we can't forget that at Roma, he was fighting for Scudetti. He was consistently there with a great squad that they were playing great football. They were one of playing some of the most beautiful football in Italy. So I think that this fit in Napoli, given the squad and given the fact that a lot of these Napoli players have been there before and they know how to push for the Scudetto. I think that they'll be right up there with Inter, Juventus at the end of the season. And who knows, with everyone coming in brand new, especially with the Juventus squad not being as strong as it's been over the past decade, you never know. And I think that a lot of Napoli fans should be excited to see what comes.
Oh, they definitely should be. We're going to get that little Politano-Spalletti link up again. But yeah, that's the crazy thing to think about. It's that Inter squad was really focused on serving Icardi, so it ended up looking like Spalletti was some sort of terroristic cross and inshallah manager, and he's not really that at all. Not that. He was adapting to what he had.
Yeah.
I think he made some great points. He could definitely challenge for a Scudetto. It's important to think about, though, that, all these other managers coming in at these top clubs is really going to have a crazy effect on where people end up and where these squads end up. It could look like a great fit tactically, and maybe Roma all of a sudden goes crazy under Mourinho, and so you just never know. What do you think? Should we rank these managers real quick, just on paper from what they've done previously? Not what their limits are or what it could be, but just from what they've done previously.
Okay, go ahead. You can start first, and I'll cook something up.
All right, I'm going to go with Allegri first, of course. Serial winner. Shouldn't have to say much more than that. Second place, I'm going to go with Mourinho. Again, serial winner. Don't have to say much more than that. Third place, I'm going to go with Spalletti. Such a great fit at Napoli. And, he's got beautiful football, has followed him, except for at Inter, but great manager. Fourth place, I'm going to go with Sarri. This is on paper, of course, so don't nobody get mad at me, Interisti. And fifth, I'm going to go with Limone. Limone, I'm going to tell you right now, currently just fifth. He doesn't look like he's the best manager. But, again, wild card. That's what's beautiful about him. You don't know what the fuck you're going to get. It's pazza, baby. It's what Inter's made all about. And this guy could end up being fucking generational, and we finally see it. It's his first real squad that he's going to be – serious squad that he's going to be managing. So, It's going to be beautiful. And I'm not saying that's not the order of where these teams are going to finish. I'm just ranking the managers, by the way. Don't take them for an order.
In our private chat, I wrote, literally right as you were going, I wrote exactly what you said before you said it. I have Allegri, Mo, Spalletti, Sarri, Inzaghi, and then I put Pioli. But then as I wrote Pioli, I remembered that we have some smaller teams that were bottom half of the table picking up some great managers. And it's hilarious, and it's making me giggle right now just because I'm thinking of my cousins that are going to be upset at this. But Gattuso at Fiorentina, they have the squad.
How are we going to talk about Gattuso? That's huge.
They're a huge, and I was for Comiso, I was worried about my man because my Italian American brother. I want to see him do well. I hated all the slack he was getting. I was worried for him because I thought maybe this guy doesn't know what he's fucking doing, putting Iachini in the bench with all those great players. So I thought maybe the stigma, the Italian American stigma, is there and it's real, and we shouldn't trust this guy. But getting Gattuso, I think Gattuso is a great manager, and I think he's just been unlucky lately. First of all, that Milan squad he had previously was garbage. When he was at Napoli, I feel for Napoli and all Napoli fans because they had some massive misfortune with Osimhen being out for almost felt like half the season.
Oh, yeah.
Mertens got injured against Inter and missed the whole middle of the season. I thought they played good football, and there was a lot of times, a lot of games where they were really close to picking up 3 points, and it just fell apart for them in like the most crazy fashion. So I can't imagine what my brother Phil in Philadelphia is feeling after last season, just because of how close they missed out on everything. I think I tweeted in January, I thought that if Gattuso stayed and everyone got healthy again, that they would finish above Milan, and they almost did, came 2 points short of it. So I'm excited for Fiorentina picking up Gattuso, and then Torino even picked up Juric, which is a huge surprise.
100%. That's an interesting move for him because I thought that he was implementing his style of football pretty well at Hellas, but I do think that Torino on paper has some better players, so you could implement it even better there. So I think that's a pretty great move. You made some amazing points about Pioli. I didn't even rank Pioli with the other guys because I totally fucking forgot about it. No offense to my Milanisti, I love you guys because Zlatan, but yeah, I agree with you. And I think Comiso made some horrible mistakes at the beginning with Fiorentina, some awful, egregious mistakes. However, this is a good bounce back. Gattuso is a great manager to bring in. I honestly thought Spalletti would be going there, a little Tuscan love, but didn't end up happening. I think Tuso. So here's my issue with Tuso. I felt very strongly that I liked him coming into the season. I thought he was treated unfairly at Milan. I thought that if he had time to build, he could have taken them in Champions League. The way that they choked top 4 left a very bad taste in my mouth. The squad that they had, they shouldn't have even been in the position to be choking top 4. I know they had some issues with Osimhen, and fantastic player, by the way, one of my favorite youngsters in the league. But at the same time, it's like you're facing weaker opposition. They have nothing to play for, and you lost the game. You choked it, and that leaves a bad taste in my mouth for Tuso. And I still like Tuso. I think he can bounce back. I don't know how strong he's going to be. I think he can definitely secure Europa League again with Fiorentina. The Fiorentina squad looks great. They've got some great youth, assuming everyone stays. Could definitely mount a serious challenge for top 4, but I think his limitation is going to be Europa League.
Yeah, and this is a great opportunity for him, like you said, because I think there's a big question mark under that Gattuso name right now. Like you said, I think just the way he hasn't performed exactly the way he should have, or what was expected. So taking this Fiorentina squad, and that was bottom half of the table and really struggling some days, and making them play consistent good football would be
huge,
massive for his stock. And I think that he can do a madness.
Agree. All right, should we get into the beautiful Italian Euro squad?
I'm excited. It's crazy. You're more excited for the Azzurri and are more optimistic than I am. And it's weird, but at least someone's out here to do it. Someone's here to carry the hype train forward, because I'm definitely not going to do it. I'm not. I don't think. I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited, given that what the squad looked like for the past few years, and from the 2018 World Cup disaster that had happened. But I'm just glad that you're there to carry the hype train for me.
A lot of people don't know, so I'm just going to explain because it might be a little bit weird for them. So I'm Albanian. Everyone knows that, obviously. Raki Bobby got the Eagles on the name. But I'm a massive, massive, massive Italian national team supporter. I'm going to tell you why. Albania, we never see our fucking team go to the Euros or the World Cup. So what ends up happening is often by neighborhoods, we'll start, people would be, supporting different teams. So, Italy, Brazil, the Netherlands, and Germany, those are, the big foreign Albanians. Based on your family and stuff, that's who you start supporting. So I'm a crazy Italy fan. In 2006, I was just a kid, but I was watching with tears in my eyes. We almost fucking choked it, but we won. So I'm going to say we. I know a lot of Italian Americans are going to be mad at me, but I'm going to say we, baby. I'm excited. Let me tell you something, Favo. Undefeated, all right? I know you're going to say, whatever. You're playing against Bosnia, whatever. Undefeated. I don't give a fuck about all that noise. Everybody's playing against some random ass bums. You got fucking Gibraltar competing with these teams. It is what it is. Undefeated. You got the best manager in the cup. Mancini is head and shoulders above any other manager, in my opinion. You've got one of the best midfields, if not the best midfield, but I'll say one of the best because France has a crazy good midfield too. You've got a terrific defense. You've got a striker that isn't necessarily completely there, but on his day, he's one of the best in the world. And then you've got some phenomenal wingers. Chiesa had an insane season. Inzaghi had an insane season, record-breaking for him. So there's a lot to be happy about. And I think having Mancini is that extra push. No, the squad isn't as deep as France's squad, right? But it's the managerial choice. It's the brotherhood that these guys are going to build. They know they've been letting Italy down. The Italian national team has been letting Italy down recently. It's been really sad, and these guys know, and I'm sure they're carrying that weight on their shoulders, and they're going to look to make their country proud.
Yeah, I don't know, but see, the undefeated record for me doesn't hold as much weight as what everyone makes it seem, just because, we're playing teams like the smallest countries and, destroying them 7-0 and getting some weak draws against Holland in there, some 0-0 draws. And the football that I see is, I just think these guys are going to drive me crazy. I'm not 100% confident in Immobile and Belotti. I think that they're good in the systems they play in Serie A, but when it comes to the national team playing in the middle there, kind of on an island, I think they struggle a lot. But we'll see. There, like you said, there's a lot of talent in the team. The midfield is good. I don't believe it's the best in the Euros right now, just because that France squad, and there's Conte, Pogba, those guys are absolutely absurd. I think that France squad is way too strong. I think the England squad is strong. Portugal is very strong. There's a team I'm forgetting that. Oh, Belgium is extremely strong. I just don't see how they're going to be able to go in and beat these teams when it comes down to it, because I think we're going to probably see one of those big four in probably the quarterfinals. And I don't know. Chiellini and Bonucci back there, it seems like they're going to be the two starters. I just don't really see it. It's 2021, man. We've had those guys back there for so long. I think I'm going to be a little disappointed, but I think most people are going to be pretty disappointed. But, having these expectations and not expecting too much means that when I do see the games come on, and if these guys are balling, I'm going to be ecstatic, and I'm going to be losing my mind. I'm excited.
You make some good points. You make some valid points. I think at the end of the day, though, that Mancini factor is going to be huge. And he did make a couple of questionable things for me. Issues. The only big issues for me is this. Keane, for example, is used to that 4-3-3 that Mancini likes to play. He'd be perfect in the middle there. He's dynamic. To not even make the bench is kind of crazy to me. Raspadori is not exactly, when I think of a striker, he's not like the guy I think about. Like, he's kind of smaller. He's like a quick guy, but he's not going to, I don't know if he'd win games. People like him. They're hyped by him. He could be a little bit, good off the bench, but I don't know if he'd be like that guy to take the mantle if Belotti and Immobile end up choking. But you made some points around the striker position. My big issue, and you made some great points about the center backs, Bonucci, Chiellini, like what the fuck's going on? Big 2021. I think the reasoning for that is that he thinks that, this is a established partnership both for Juve and for Italy. They've been doing it for so long, so they wanted that veteran presence. My ideal thing is for Bastoni to start. Bastoni's head and shoulders above Bonucci. The issue is that Bastoni and Bonucci are very similar players. I don't think that they can play too well together. You need Bastoni, Chiellini. However, the problem there becomes Chiellini's never played on the right, as far as my knowledge goes. He might have before, but he's used to playing as a left center back. Bastoni plays on the left. One of these guys is going to have to play on the right. I don't know how it would end up shaking out, which one would do it. That's why I really like Mancini, center back Mancini, for the squad. I think he's tremendous. He's got aggression. He's got appetite. He's great on the ball. He's honestly amazing. And I think he's going to explode under Mourinho. Let me go back and say that. But I rank Mancini very highly. To me, he's almost Bastoni level. And if he was in a better system, we'd see that. So I think that there are some issues, like you pointed out. I don't think that they're on paper. Definitely France is the strongest team. I don't think Belgium is much stronger. I think Belgium is a strong team. They're not much stronger. Again, England are serial chokers to me. I'm not gonna be scared of England. If Italy get England, I'm almost 100% sure that we'll beat England. I'll say that right now. Spain is just still playing that tiki-taka to a point where it's like regressive. It looks like now it's just like ugly. They thought it was supposed to be sexy and it's ugly. I'll never forget when Russia slapped the shit out of them for playing those back pass, side pass bullshit. Spain's still caught up in 2008 and 10, whatever. I think Italy has a great chance. I think that upsets happen all the time, of course. But I think if these guys band together, if they show that brotherhood, that unity, they could really go to the next level under Mancini, and I think they will.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that about Spain. I watched a little bit of the Portugal-Spain game. Yeah. That was yesterday, I believe. Yep. And it's not the same at all. They play, the ball moves so slow, and you can see the triangles form. You can still see them trying to play that Spanish football, but the ball doesn't move fast enough. And they just can't find any pockets of space. They can't break lines anymore. And it's 0-0 draw.
They look so washed, bro.
Yeah.
They're such a washed team trying to implement this stuff. I was never a fan of tiki-taka in the beginning, but there's a difference. When it's done well, it looks beautiful. But when you got these, it looks like pensioner football. Like the ball, it's hideous to watch right now.
Yeah. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm just excited to have international football back. It feels like we haven't watched international play in ages, just because the last thing we saw was in 2018, the World Cup, and I didn't even really follow that World Cup a lot because the disaster that Ventura put together in the qualification, that Italy wasn't even there. So it just feels like it's been ages since I got to watch the Assurri and real tournament that matters. So maybe after I see those jerseys on the field and I see that national anthem sung with all the passion that they always do bring, maybe my balls will start to tingle a little bit more, but right now they just are not. I'm not the most optimistic. I'm just international play is back, baby. It's summer football. Let's get it going. It's like hot boy summer, but international football summer.
Yeah, baby. And you know who could really benefit from this is Lukaku. If he puts in an amazing performance with Belgium, there's shouts for Ballon d'Or, baby. There's shouts for Ballon, and you can't ignore those shouts. Kevin De Bruyne left the field crying in the UCL final. Nobody's giving the Ballon d'Or to Kevin De Bruyne, and if they do, fuck them. All right.
Yeah, there's no that. It's interesting just because it's I feel like this is the first year that, or maybe I guess you could say the second year where it's so wide open for the Ballon d'Or for this season, and this obviously the international tournament plays a huge role in who wins that. So given all that fact, Lukaku is going to be the main man in Belgium, and if they can make a run, they find themselves in the final, and Lukaku is, banging in goals left and the right with the same form that he brought the last 2 years in Serie A, he can make a huge case for that golden ball come January?
Yes, sir. Exciting stuff, baby. And, like you said, we're back. We're glad to have international football back. We're not so glad that Inter's in a bit of turmoil right now, but what we are glad about is that we'll fucking get through it. One way or another, it'll be ugly, it'll be beautiful, but we're going to see the other end of that shit. Interisti, stay strong. Milanisti, I'm sorry for you having to deal with Pioli. Juventini, I'm happy for you to have Allegri back. You cucked him. It's terrific. He's going to do great. Napolitano and Napolinistas. I don't know what the fuck to call you guys. You guys are such a small fan base. You know, I'll just call you Assurri fan Phil. I'm basically talking to one guy. Assurri fan Phil, I'm happy for you, bro. I'm happy for you, bro. Spalletti's a terrific manager. I think Napoli's going to do a tremendous job next season in Serie A. Lazio fans, I'm sorry that we did that to you. I'm sorry. You know, the game is the game, baby. You should have held your shit down. You should have paid that motherfucker more, but we got him. And, you know, you shouldn't be all doom and gloom either. Sarri's a terrific manager. You guys get the right pieces and it'll be beautiful. My beautiful Romanisti. What is fucking popping? I'm not going to say it. I want to get in trouble. I'm not going to say it. But I'm looking forward to your season, baby. Zaniolo, Mourinho, there's a lot to look forward to. It's good to be a Romanista right now. You guys are going to love next season. And that wraps that up, baby.
That wraps it up. The Serie Ass podcast is here. It's the first episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it. There's going to be many more to come. We're going to try to do these as much as possible. We're going to talk about the beautiful game, the Serie Ass, the league we all love. We're not going to claim to be experts. We're going to have a lot of fun doing this, and we hope you guys have a lot of fun listening, watching, whatever it is you're doing.
Hell yeah, we're fucking unserious. We're the most unserious. We have a fucking logo of an ass for a profile picture, bro. Like, what the fuck do you think this is? That's our logo because we don't give a fuck. We're just out here.
That's out here.
Beautiful game.